So I found this article comparing Gen Zers and Millennials, and it's interesting, I think, because like we're heading to a clash maybe one day because soon the Boomers are going to be out. I mean, the Gen Xers will still be around, but like the Gen Zers and the Millennials for a while are really going to be like competing and kind of like running the show. So like, there's definitely differences in the way we do things. Let me know in comments if you think these things are accurate. I'm a millennial, so they're saying that there's realistic versus optimistic. So like. We're as millennials, apparently we're pretty optimistic because we were raised in that manner by like boomer parents who lived in good times, I guess, right? After the major wars and stuff like that, the country was doing great. And then like nowadays, like economy's like not doing the best in the sense that like inflation's up, mortgage rates are like so high you don't want to get a house, prices are up. And like Gen Zers are not optimistic. They're like negative on things. They're really down. So, like, we have really different points of view, and that's going to come to a head eventually, I think, because we're going to have different views of the world. Then there's, like, this idea of, like, independent versus collaborative. So, like, millennials, we were taught to, like, work together in teams because you'll be more efficient and get things done. And if you're a millennial, let me know if you do that kind of thing. And they're saying that, for whatever reason, Gen Z are more competitive with their colleagues and have, like, a do-it-yourself mentality. Probably because, like, all this team stuff and all, they've been kind of, like, coming up in a little more. So they're used to doing things on their own. I mean, if you're Gen Z also, like, let me know. Is that right? I mean, I'm curious about these things and the effect they're gonna have a major effect on the world. So you got digital natives versus digital pioneers. Like millennials were pioneers in the sense that we were on the internet when the boomers, our parents, like had no clue what the internet was. We were talking and AOL Instant Messenger and all that. It was a cool time. Whereas like Gen Zers were raised in a time where they just that's all they ever had was the internet. Kind of like how like the Alpha and Gen Z now are using AI more than the older generations. I personally love it, but they're using it for everything, you know. And older generations have no clue anything about this AI stuff other than just like hearing about it on news or whatever. So private versus public. Millennials explored social media, made their thoughts and opinions. Like we put everything, like at least in the beginning, online. Like what we were having for dinner, or walking our dog, we're going to the gym. Everything was just like just posted. Everything was out there. Then like times progressed and got different with social media, with like doxing and calling people out and canceling. So Gen Z's way more careful with that stuff. They don't want to like put everything out there because they're smart enough to realize now that this isn't a trend. This is all they've ever known, social media, and it can follow you forever. It's crazy, right? So face-to-face versus digital only. When I read this one, I thought it was going to be like Gen Z was digital only, but at the end of this article section here, they said Gen Z is positioned as the ideal generation to finally strike the right balance between online and offline communications. I thought that was really cool because I think you do need a balance between these two because these things are really real, and sometimes things are better face-to-face, and sometimes things are better online. Sometimes a text message is better, sometimes an email is better, sometimes a phone call is better, or FaceTime. You know, all these different types of communication teams, they all have their place, I think. And to be efficient, you got to like utilize them all. I think Millennial is a little more face to face still, maybe a little bit more. Not a whole lot though. I think though. But man, on demand learning versus formal education. So we all were told as millennials to go to college, go to school, sit in there all day, learn, go home, study, blah blah blah. Right now, there's all this online education where you can just get a degree online. You can learn from YouTube online. You can learn from any source instantly. It's like kind of how Netflix, like the whole education is becoming like Netflixized, if that makes sense. Like everything's on demand. It's kind of cool, I think, because you can learn so much faster, more efficiently. So that's definitely a good thing. I mean, there's some good things about having a strict environment. I'm sure everything's got a pro and a con. Role hopping versus job hopping. Millennials had little patience for stagnation, especially when it came to their careers. So Gen Z has this ability right now that they're jumping around, trying all kinds of different aspects. But I think that has more to do with age than like a cultural difference. Because as a millennial, we all did that too, I think. For the most part, we jumped around, tried different things. So, I mean, that's pretty normal, that one. I don't know if that is the effect of a Gen Zer versus millennial. Let me know in comments if any of this stuff is true. And if you're an older generation, let me know your thoughts too. I'd love to hear it. So then the global citizens versus global spectators, they're saying millennials were considered the first global generation. I mean, because we had similar characteristics and values across borders. And then like Gen Z just took it a step further. The borders are just gone now, right? With all this communication that we have. I mean, we're able to talk to anybody online. And Gen Z is really the first generation to grow up in that and capitalize on it. I think this stuff's super cool. It's going to have a huge impact for the rest of our lives. And I think it's important to understand the differences in generations and not dump on the younger ones or just hate the older ones because it's all important, man. So subscribe, comment below, let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next one.